This is Lizzie from Let Zoe Spoil You.
And Sagira from Sagira Salutes You. And together, we are Newbie versus Weeaboo. Sagira, Newbie.
Lizzie, a Weeaboo.
It's Newbie versus Weeaboo.
Hi.
Heidi, hi.
That was a bit off. Hello.
That's lovely. Hello to you too.
Well, it's the podcast. The finest of podcasts.
I know.
Yeah. This is Newbie versus Weeaboo.
I know.
With our new Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Evangelion.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there. I mean, I'm. Yeah, you'll get there eventually. I was just thinking, it's like, oh, you've got a new name to learn today. Oh no.
I've got a couple of new names. There's quite an abundance of new people that have appeared.
The other major players have got on the stage.
Indeed, but we will get to them because they're not in the first episode, which is called The Works of Man.
Dum, dum, dum.
And I found this episode was very much towards the robot and, you know, the going on behind it. Because they do a demonstration in it of the new one, don't they? We'll get to that. But
yes.
Yeah, it's all about the inner workings of
this was very much about the adults and their little power struggles and a bit more about the factions in the world and like the other agencies that aren't just Nerve.
Yes, because they're talking about Unit 6 and Unit 8 and many a unit going on.
Yes.
So, yes. I'm trying not to make noise as I move my microphone. There you go. I don't normally have a headphone. It's very strange.
I've kind of got used to mine, apart from the fact that every time I go to sip something, you can hear a slurp. So every now and then it's like, as I slurp on my tea.
Just got to open your gullet wide and let it slip down. Like most things.
I've got a perfectly good gullet.
No, this is not what this podcast is about.
It's the cabin fever. It's getting to us. It really is.
It's getting sexy up in here. No. Okay, right. Back to the action. So the whole thing starts in HQ where Akari and a stranger are talking and they mention Freedom of Information Act and a new project.
Yes.
Go. That's all I got from it, so it's down to you now.
Down to me, the Freedom of Information Act. Well, that's just the Freedom of Information Act. That means the government should be talking to each other in this time of crisis. And we also know that we don't entirely know if they are talking to each other. It could be that Nerve are hiding things. And the important thing to remember is that I don't know if you recalled, but a couple of episodes ago when Gendo was in that kind of shady conference and they were like, yes, getting the Avas out is all well and good, but don't forget your true purpose. Don't forget that the real goal here is the Human Instrumentality Project.
Intriguing.
Yes.
Right. See, so you got more out of that than I did. You remember things. So then Shinji and Pen Pen are having a lovely breakfast together.
Yep.
When Misato comes in and has her first beer of the day.
Functioning alcoholic Misato. But her job is pretty damn stressful.
It is, yeah. I mean, you can... This one, yeah, it is this one. After this one, you can see why. She might be someone who might have a drinking problem because of some of the stuff that she's expected to do. Not even expected to do. She's like, no, this is my duty to do this.
Yeah.
You know, she feels she's a good person and she wants to save the world. So, yeah, if you need to be drunk to do it, I expect results. Yeah. That's not to say that nurses and doctors now should be going out getting drunk. So yeah, Shinji's friends come and they come to pick him up and they're obviously in love with Misato because she's everything. She comments, because he's got a bit of the up with her this morning, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's given her attitude, so much chewed and she comments to herself saying how he's showing sarcasm, which is a good thing
Yeah.
because he's actually getting a personality.
Yes, he's being snarky and talking back to an adult, which means that he's coming out of his shell and also realizing that, he can act up, which is what a normal teenage boy would do. So it's actually good that he's being a bit, snarky.
And then she calls security and tell them to keep an eye on the flight risk. Well, she doesn't use the words flight risk, but
yeah,
he's a flight risk.
Yes.
As has been proven. Security is looking. We don't see security, so
no,
they're very well.
They are very good security. They're just keeping an eye on him, making sure he's still, doing what he's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And then Misoto comes to school.
Yes.
And she gets all the love. All the boys love her, and all the girls are like, what else?
I love that. It's like I don't know, parent-teacher day or something, and she's come to see how Shinji's grades are doing, and literally all the boys are just hanging out the windows, and the girls are like, ugh, and then Ray's just sitting there going, I don't care either way. And poor Shinji's just like, oh, if you knew her like I did, you wouldn't be all oogling her. Oh, no. And they're like, oh, she'll be the perfect woman. And he'll be like, oh, you try living with her.
And that's another thing, is that that's the only time we see Ray in these 2 episodes, is that tiny shot of her. So it's nice to see her. Nice to see she's still around. At HQ, Unit 1 is in some sort of fluid. He's just kind of hanging out in some liquid.
Yep.
Don't know what it is.
It's the I think it's pretty much the same liquid they have inside the pods. I always think of it like, because in here, like, it was the first time I remember them actually using the title. You know the power cord? They call it the umbilical cord.
Yes.
And you know how the plugs go in and it's filled up with a fluid that's also got oxygen in it, as if it was like you were in the womb, because obviously babies float around in whatever that's called. I don't know what it's called. I'm not medical enough. But, babies float away in a weird sack of fluid inside people and can breathe and have umbilical cords. So I always just figured that it was some kind of similar weird genetic concoction that the Avas could sit in to, rejuvenate.
And Shinji's got this inner monologue of how he feels comfortable inside there. So he's gone from hating it to actually it's part of him. Akari and this stranger are on a plane, and they're talking about world funding towards NERV and how the US refuses to help towards Unit 6.
Oh, the US.
Why is it always the US?
Oh, because Japan has a bit of a problem with America due to the whole, occupying parts of Japan, and then for ages, US military bases were just stationed on places like Okinawa and stuff, refusing to move and being like, oh, this is our island now, we're just going to stay here. And Japan's like, you can't just occupy it. It's like, yes, we can. We won World War II. You tried to bomb Pearl Harbor, so we are going to put military bases on these islands that are near you. And Japan isn't, so America gets a bit of a bad rep in anime sometimes because of, just their historical relationship.
And it would seem that the way that they're talking, that each nation or country or whatever has a unit to invest in. Because like they say that Germany has one, and the US has one, and Japan has one.
You start seeing the influences that things like Pacific Rim got from Ava really badly. Which is
it's quite funny that you say that, because my partner came in as I was watching the second of these 2 episodes, and he said, Pacific Rim, isn't it? I was like, yes, it pretty much is.
Yes, except for made 20 years before Pacific Rim. So, and basically the thing that, one of the influences on Pacific Rim. But NERV has, I always thought of it as the patent for the Avas, and because of the Freedom of Information Act, he had to share the patent for the Avas with other countries so they could also defend themselves, and so that all the countries could have their own unit to fight the Angels. But since the Angels keep turning up in Japan because they're after something, it's more necessary to well, the Avas should probably come over here as well, because this is where all the Angels are turning up. They're not attacking you, they're attacking Tokyo 3. Mm-hmm. And they want more money for this because, they're doing all the work. But the other governments are like, you can't just have all the resources and all the money. So, and other places are now trying to build their own robots.
So Ritsuko is talking to Shinji about the second impact. And now this is a really interesting scene because we get to know a bit more and how the meteor is a lie.
It is a lie. It's a cover-up.
There was no meteor. It was an angel.
Yes.
So that's a very important plot point there.
Yes.
And they're also saying that there could be a third impact if they're not quick enough to stop it.
Yes.
So, and that's, I'm guessing, what they're trying to stop, and that's why they've got all these units blasting them.
Yep. So yeah, the second impact was they discovered an angel in Antarctica, and they were doing some experiments, but it all went a bit wrong, causing the explosion that, pretty much destroyed the world. And so there's an implication that if there's going to be a third impact, they're worried about some kind of experiment going wrong again.
So back at the breakfast table, everything's happening exactly the same. Fish and toast. But this time, Misoto is wearing a suit because she's going to Tokyo 3 for business.
She's going to Old Tokyo for business.
Old Tokyo. So, downtown? I don't know. I don't know where these all are in conjunction of one another.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where New Tokyo is in comparison to where Old Tokyo is. My geography, I know a bit of it, but they haven't really specified it. It's somewhere where they have to go on a plane, and she and Ritsuko have to go to this fancy presentation of this new unit that the government has gone, because the government is sick of giving money to NERV, and they're like, oh, I know you can do it, but whatever you can do, we can do it. We've created our own giant robot that's going to fight the angels attacking.
And that's all in part 2, which is called Human Work. Don't know why. Oh, I know why. Because they're talking about this new robot, and from what I know, it is not piloted by a human.
No.
It is piloted on its own. It has its own consciousness, as far as I picked up from it.
Yeah, it's got its kind of own, not AI in the advanced way that it would talk, but it's got an algorithm and it's programmed with all the decision-making abilities it needs, so that it's got contingency for everything that could possibly go wrong, therefore eliminating the need for a person, but not eliminating the need for a fail-safe. But
they do mention about, because he says they don't need a human heart that is connected. So again, that goes back to the whole connection of Shinji with his Unit 1 and Rei with her Unit 0. And that is so much more than just being sat in fluid controlling it. It's literally every part of them is connected, but specifically the heart.
Yes. So you're getting pieced together more and more of it. I still can't really say too much yet. So...
I know, it's like I don't want to say anything just in case it's right or wrong, and I don't want to spoil it for myself, but at the same time it's really hard not to start putting this together and jumping ahead. I'm not going to. So talk myself out of that one. A new unit is shown. They call it JA. Yep. And it walks, it does a step, and it does another step. And then it gets hot and goes, no! And just storms off.
Wanders, it has a hissy fit. Yeah. It's the Jet-Along program. I'm like, why did you name it the Jet-Along program? What a randomly stupid name.
It's so much cooler in Japanese.
No, it's the Jet-Along. It's the same.
Yeah, they pronounce it Jet-Along.
Yeah, because it's written in English. And so it still has the same name, so it's still Jet-Along program, and they call it the JA. And it just basically, its core starts overheating, and it decides it's not going to listen to any of the commands it's been given. It's going to go off on its own merry journey and then explode. And you kind of get the feeling it's got a nuclear reactor inside it. And obviously Japan's mega fear and anxiety goes around the fact that, it's had a couple of nuclear bombs dropped on it in its past, and the last thing they want to be messing around with is anything else that has nuclear reactors inside, or anything else that could explode.
So it's unresponsive, and it goes, no, storms off. And Misoto is like, you know what, let's just get this sorted, because they're all going, there's nothing we can do, we can't, it's unresponsive, it's going to explode. She's like, nah. So she jumps into action. And she's like, right, so what's the passcode? How do I stop it? And they're like, we can't give you that. She's like, what? You can't give me that. I haven't got authority. So they all start calling around to one another, and she's like, they're passing the buck because no one wants that responsibility of giving the go.
Yeah.
Until they actually realise, you know what, if we don't tell her, all the bad things are going to happen. So it's hope.
Yeah.
So they just give her the password.
What I like about this is there's so much like comment on like society, and even society still now, because some of these problems haven't changed. It's like you see it, and it's like when they're at the dinner party and there's all these big like tables, big groups all around them, all congratulating themselves on being amazing, and then there's these two women at the nerve table, and the guy and Ritsuko, yeah, she's kind of like being a bit of a bitch by going, well, what about this problem? What about this problem? It's like, what happens if the core overheats? Well, I think it's too dangerous to pilot something that, you know, doesn't have a human element so that there's a chance it can, like, be controlled. And the guy is just like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, don't worry, it's not going to go on a rampage, you know, and if it does, it's a bit like a hysterical woman that doesn't know how to shut up kind of thing. And you're just like, and Misato is like managing to like keep it together until obviously they're in their own private room and she beats up a locker because she's just like, oh, egotistical dick. And it's that whole thing that these are guys, and guys in the military would know way better than these two females that work for their own like government, and they're like just putting them down. And it's like, obviously it's proven slightly wrong because, well, they built a robot and the robot went, I'm not going to listen to you. And then it's a little bit of a comment.
You know why? Because it's probably a woman robot.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you. I'm off. Oh, is it having a hissy fit? A bit like an hysterical woman. Well, maybe you shouldn't have called her hysterical. You know,
Exactly.
Poor JA. And yeah, and then it's very difficult. It's a little bit of a comment on like government response to things, in the fact that like, yeah, no one wants to take responsibility to make a decision that could cost them a lot of money. That's the point of these like episodes, is to show you like how the adult world works, and it's all based on like finances. Literally everything. All they talk about for like 2 episodes is how much everything's going to cost and who has the rights to ownership of some of these things. And yeah, so Misato's like, just give me the code. And I love the fact that she rings up one guy that's like just playing golf. I'm just going to play golf in the apocalypse. It's like, oh no, that's too big a decision. Maybe submit it in paperwork. And it's like, oh, you dicks. You don't want anything that will tarnish your careers. You don't want to spend any money. So you're quite happy to let a giant robot just explode. And Misato's like, I'm done with this. I'm going to go sort this out myself.
So she does. So they get Shinji involved, because why not? And he's he's piloting Unit 1, and he's helping her get to JA, where Unit 1 comes down. He kind of grabs... Does he grab him?
Well, basically, because because JA is so fast on a giant robot, there's nothing else that can really catch up or stop it. So they use Ava Unit 1 to run over, hold on to the hatch, to drop Misato off, and therefore try and just restrain it as if it's a person that's got a bit mental. They're just like, it's a very human like mecha fight, instead of like, you know, the usual mechas like gripping each other and shooting each other. It just looks like two people wrestling. One of them's like in uncontrollable drunk rage mode, and the other one's like, dude, just calm down.
It's funny how the legs have stopped moving, but the arms are still swinging. Like,
I know, woohoo, off they go. Yeah, I always laugh at that bit because the arms are just flailing away.
Danger, Will Robinson. She tries to fix it, and it doesn't work. Someone has tampered with the robot.
Yes.
Therefore, unable to do shutdown. So, was it purposely going berserk? Did somebody want it to fail?
I think the answer to that is definitely yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's like the guy running it was just like, this should be impossible. Then when you find out the password doesn't, you know that like Misato is just like, wait a minute, this should work. And so she's desperately trying to push out the freaking cooling coils herself in this giant robot. And it's like, well, this could only have happened if someone had programmed it to go on this rampage. And like literally just before it's about to blow up, it suddenly sorts itself out. It suddenly goes, oh, actually, no, I don't want to blow up. And it shuts itself down. So it was programmed to go on a rampage and just before the critical point, turn itself off. So sabotage. And you get the feeling definitely sabotaged by Gendo and his underlings to make sure that no one else comes up with a technology for fighting the angels but them. Because they'll see this and go, this project's too risky, shelve it. We have to rely on the Avas.
There you go, conspiratoire. And then we go back to breakfast. Back to breakfast, and all is normal. Toast, fish, beer, and boys.
Yep.
Which is lovely. So, but this time when Shinji is walking with his friends, he's complaining again, saying like, "Oh, she's a snob. You don't know what she's like." But then they make the point to her saying, "Look, you get to see her in a way that no one else gets to. Therefore, she's comfortable enough to do that around you. So you're obviously family." And then he's realised, that's nice.
Yeah. She's still a slob, but you know.
Oh, yeah. So next time your partner or your family members are annoying you by being slobs, just go, they love me.
Yeah, that's what Luke thinks all the time. The reason I have not put anything on but pajamas and I've got 4 cups of tea like around my feet and like I'm just being an absolute slob, it's because I'm so comfortable in my marriage that I don't give a damn. It's kind of true though. Like I'm so happily comfortable that I just slob around the house. It's beautiful.
There must be something wrong with me because I don't accept this premise. You clean up your crap, man.
I do eventually.
Not you.
Well, Misato's even worse than me. Like, you know, I tidy up more than she does.
Well, as far as I'm aware, you don't have a beer first thing in the morning, but, you know.
No,
changed.
No, even I haven't done that yet. I don't start my day with a can of lager.
And then we move on to episode 8, which is, right, it's written Asuka, but it's pronounced Asuka.
Asuka, yeah. Asuka.
So Asuka arrives in Japan, and she is our new protagonist.
Yes.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Because she kind of takes over this episode.
Well, she's our new Ava pilot, and she's obviously recognised from the opening sequence and going, oh, so that's where that character's been. So,
That's what it is. Yes. The kind of Misty and Ash kind of thing going on. So again, we start in HQ, and Akari is talking on the phone about a delivery, which Misato and Shinji, and for some reason Toji and Ida are helping to deliver.
Well, there's 2 things going on. They're not delivering the delivery. The delivery is something else. But basically, they're going to go pick up Unit 2, and it's a bit of a day trip to go out on a boat. And I think Misato just wants, you know, something nice for Shinji, and thought, oh yeah, why don't you invite your friends along, because they're really into this stuff and they can see the arrival of the fleet, look at some ships, maybe see Ava Unit 2. Maybe it would also be nice to introduce them to Asuka so she knows that she's got some friends when she comes to school and stuff. They weren't expecting it to all go a bit tits up.
What I'm more concerned about is that Ida is filming the entire thing. Surely it's all government secrets and whatnot, having, you know, the fact that an angel appears at some point and these units and whatnot.
You just know that they would have confiscated all of that and given him back like the reducted version with all these cuts everywhere.
Just Marines waving, going, oh. So they fly towards their warship. Ida is extremely excited about the whole affair, and Toji loses his hat. So he goes scampering off, which is then trodden on by Asuka.
Sorry,
another tongue twister for me. And she clearly has a history with Misato because they are sassy to one another. So much sass.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've developed in more ways than one, or physically, or whatever she says, and just basically said, I've got boobs.
Basically, I'm filling out in all the right places. And it's like, Asuka. And
the wind blows up her skirt, and Toji is in the wrong place at the wrong time and gets a smack across the face. To which she says, that was for the treat. And then he replies with, I'll show you a treat, and drops trowel.
Yep.
Now, that is a very odd response.
Yeah, he's a teenage boy. He didn't think that through, because afterwards he looks stupidly sheepish, and he's all like, oh dear.
Yes, but he is full of confidence.
Yeah. For a 14-year-old boy, look at my penis. And I'm like, no wonder you got a couple more slaps there, dude. And you're like, oh, whoops.
Not really behaviour you would expect, but oh well, this is Japan.
Well, they don't normally go around dropping trow in Japan, but you know.
If this was a documentary, I'd say different. It's not. It's anime. So then the big burly captain resents looking after the children, as he calls them.
Yeah.
But they are transporting Unit 1, so...
Unit 2.
Unit 2, sorry. Why have I written 1? It is Unit 2. I know it's Unit 2, but I decided to confuse myself. And then Kaji appears. Kaji, who is obviously played by Brendan Roth, because damn, they look the same. The first bit when he's like in the doorway and he's got his head down, sort of thing. It's like, that's Brendan Roth.
I mean, I have it in Japanese. I mean, I don't think they look anything alike. One of them I fancy the pants off, and one of them is an anime character with stupid stubble on his chin. But I'll have to listen to the dub to see what he sounds like.
I don't say he sounds like him. I think he looks like him.
He does not look like Brendan Routh.
He does.
Brendan Routh looks like Superman because he's played Superman twice.
He looks just like him.
Brandon Routh doesn't have long hair.
Okay, well, when you first see him, you don't see the long hair. You
Oh, yeah,
just see
and it's tied up. And
just see the
Brandon
tweaking.
Routh is clean shaven.
Not all the time. Sometimes he has a bit of stub.
Yeah, but
I know that you're being very protective because you love your Brendan Ruff, but
yeah,
damn, they look alike. And he also has a past with Misoto and infers that he's seen her in bed.
Yeah, Kaji is Misato's ex. I love that bit because they're having the conversation at the table and he's got his foot and first he's like trying to feel up her ankle and then he's kicking her a bit more so she moves her legs and then he stretches out his legs a little bit more to touch her further up and she's just like moving back from the table going just like, and he's like, hey. Oh, and the kids are completely oblivious to this weird like footsie going on underneath the table until he goes, oh, does she still thrash around in bed? And then obviously the boys are shocked apart from Shinji who just sits there going, oh, I'm so naive. And the other two boys are like, oh no, Masato's been in bed with a man. And then obviously Asuka is like, oh no, Kaji's been in bed with a woman. I'm trying to compete with her for his affections. And they're all like, ah.
Isn't she 14 as well?
Yeah.
Gross.
Remember, it's still the 90s. And I'm not entirely sure at what point the age of consent in the 90s went from 13 to 16. And also anime.
I know, but still gross. Shinji and Asuka are referred to as the third children. Why is this?
Well, he's the third child.
Okay.
She's the fourth child. No, wait a minute.
One.
Yeah, there's each child. Normally, the child corresponds with the number of. There's.
We can't do with the unit because
It's not the unit. Yeah, no. There's Unit 0 is the first unit, but I think she was the second child. Because, yeah, Shinji's the third child and she's the fourth child.
Then why do they keep saying the third children rather than the third child?
They say children instead of child. I noticed that in the Japanese one. They pronounce it children, but they go, oh, so you're the amazing third children.
Right, yeah, because when they say children, that seems like they're referring to them as a group rather than just him by himself. So that was confusing.
Yes, and there's a reason for it, but I think it gets explained later. I've got to try and remember that. Once it happens, I'll be like, oh yes, now I know what's happening.
Asuka shows Shinji her Ava, which is Ava Unit 2. And while they're doing that, they're under attack by an angel, which would make me think that Asuka has never seen an angel before because she asked, is that what they look like?
Yeah, no, this is her first encounter with one. She's obviously, she's been trained in Germany, because she's German, and she's been trained up, and she's all very boastful about how her Ava is the first, real one. It's not a prototype like Unit 0, and it's not, it's not the first, test run, 1. It's the first, fully, operational, ready-to-go one, and she is raring for her fight. And, yeah, she's not seen on, but she's ready to put on a good show. And then this angel turns up and starts, getting rid of boats. And it's like, oh, Misato's like, oh, it's hunting for something. Meanwhile, the captain's like, oh, get rid of the children. Oh, woman, what are you doing on my deck? Come on, man, we'll show them how to do it. And it's another, sexist older military dude going, oh, why do they spend so much money on the Avas? They should throw some of this money towards us in the UN. We're doing such important work, and now we're just babysitting a giant robot.
Well, Asuka decides, you know what, my time to shine.
Yeah.
And then we go into part 2, which is Asuka's strikes. And we start the whole thing with, like I said, Ida is filming everything, and legal? Who knows? Probably
knows?
not. Asuka suits up so that she can use Unit 2, and she gives Shinji a suit, which is obviously hers. It has breastplates.
Poor
And
boy.
he clearly doesn't want to be seen in it.
No.
There's figure hugging.
Yep, it was designed very much for her. Poor little Shinji's like, oh dear. But she wants to show him how good a pilot she is, so she's like, yeah, get in here too, because I want to show off and show how I'm better than you.
And then when they're trying to get it going, it starts having errors because she says that it needs to be spoken to in German because that's how it's been programmed. But he's thinking, well, she says, are you thinking in German or Japanese even? And he's like, she's like, think in German. he can't. So she's like, oh, shut up.
Yeah.
He's very bossy.
She is very bossy, Miss Asuka.
So then she switches it to Japanese so that they can both help, I guess. And they use every ship as a stepping stone to get to where they need to go.
Yeah,
so it's like, this thing is destroying the ships. Quick, step on all of them. Push. Everything.
well, I mean, Ava can't fly, and it's literally like, the military of, well, this UN, like, loads of ships have been like, oh, we're so good, and they're completely failing at the moment. They're like shooting at this angel and it's doing sod all, and they're like, well, we need to get there where the power cable is, and the salty captain's all like, we don't need a power cable, what a waste. And it's like, dude, you're losing this fight really badly. And then she's like, pa-ping, 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 look at my cool cape, whoa, pa-ping, to get where she needs.
And the angel flops onto the ship on top of Unit 2, just like a giant, I don't know, it's like a mixture of a stingray and a slug.
Yeah.
And a tadpole, because it had a little tail. So, yeah, mixture of everything. So it plops down on top and drags Unit 2 into the sea, for which Unit 2 has a cable attached. So they drag that down with them. And we see an underwater city.
Yes, we see the wreckage of past cities that were flooded, because obviously the world is more water now. And I always like that. You see some of the damage from second impact.
Yeah, so that kind of brings to light how much damage it did, because before they're just talking about it and they're like, oh, look, Tokyo 3 and everything's great, look how great our city is. And you don't really think about what happened beforehand, like the cities that actually suffer, because they don't really talk about any of that we know it happened, but they don't say like, oh yeah, this city's underwater and this one's gone and we had to rebuild this one. It's just kind of known amongst them, so they don't need to talk about it. But for us to see it, it's now more real for the viewer, because it's like, oh yeah, look, that used to be a thriving city and now that is underwater. So yeah, I found that quite good.
It was cool.
It was. Kaji legs it.
Yep.
He's a bummo.
Well, you find out later that he has a secret other mission. But he's like, hey, I'll meet you at HQ, bye. And Misato's like, you dick, you're just bailing.
And then the angel chomps down on Unit 2, a hump, who's still attached to the cable, and Toji says, hey, it's a bit like fishing now. To which Misato goes, ding ding, idea.
Yeah.
Let's use that. Don't give you any credit for it. I will come up with the idea.
Well, she likes her bold plans, and generally there's no one else around making bold plans. So it's like, just go with Misato. All these men have to stop being like, don't listen to the women and the children. And I'm like, the women and the children are the only ones that are going to save your asses in these situations. Listen to Misato. She hasn't failed yet.
Yeah. And the plan basically goes off without a hitch, and it was that Unit 2, who had, sorry, I keep burping, I'm drinking a branded carbonated drink, non-sponsored.
Maybe not the best choice of liquid for podcasting. I'm going to have some gas. Poppity. That's like me eating garlic before a podcast.
But it's so delicious. And if you eat garlic in your own home, that's poor Luke, not me.
Yeah, but noises on camera. That's why I have a nice cup of tea, like a proper British person.
But the cable is attached to Unit 2, and as it drags it back, the ship comes underwater. And what they want Unit 2 to do is open up the mouth, for the ship to go inside and go kaboom! Exploding the angel. And it all works perfectly.
Yes. Well done.
So
Another win for Misato and her crazy
indeed.
plans.
It goes off without a hitch. The Ritsuko is impressed with the data that they have collected, because apparently many a data. And from there, we flip over to Kaji, who finds and presents the first human being. Explain.
I can't. Not yet.
Damn it.
Not yet.
So all we know is this wiggly thing inside. Well, it's not wiggling. It's just a fetus inside.
It's a fetus inside a block of ice that's still alive and has something to do with, because he mentions it, it's like, oh yes, this is for the Human Instrumentality Project. And his name is Adam.
Because that's the first man.
Yep.
I would have called it Steve.
Alas, no. Then it wouldn't be following our slightly biblical, iconography and symbolism.
But Steve is a great name for anything. Asuka joins the school and introduces herself, saying, "It's nice to meet you."
Yep.
And all the boys are like,
"Oh no, we didn't think we'd have to run into that shrew," they say. That shrew again. She was cute, but she was a shrew. And then it's like, "Oh, poor Shinji, you got to see her at work." And then she's like, "Ha ha ha, I'm in your class now." So where else do you think she was going to go? She's another 14-year-old girl. Of course she was going to be part of your school class.
But it will be quite nice to have a girl who's not like Ray. I mean, hopefully Ray will come out of her shell a bit. But, to have that contrast in females' characterization, it would be quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting dynamic.
And then credits.
Yes.
On to episode 9.
Yeah, 9 will be the next one.
9 next. Yeah. It's getting very tense.
Well, yes. All the little bits of the conspiracies and the power plays and the little bit of like the backgrounds are starting to come out. So you're starting to find out a little bit more about what actually is going down. But only little bits. Like you literally are given all the questions. None of the answers. You're a bit like, that doesn't seem right. You're not going to find out yet. Oh, that's a bit different. Why is that? I can't say. I'm going to be doing a lot of I can't say yet. I can't say yet for a little bit.
About when do you reckon that you can say? Will it be near the end of this series, or will it flop over into the next series? Is there another series?
No, there's only 24 episodes. And then there's some movies.
Do the movies carry on from the series, or? One
movie is kind of like a recap of the entire series, but with like different animation and some other scenes. And then the movie is a direct sequel. There is also a remake, but the episodes come out every 4 to 8 years.
Do you think this would be something that would be good as a live action, or do you think it needs to stay?
The problem with that is, while the rights for the live action have been bought, like many an anime that I wish didn't, it's very, very rooted in a specific kind of time and mindset in Japan and with aspects of their society. I mean, you could do it, but I just don't know how American studio could do it justice, because you have to understand.
He did such a great job with Death Note.
Exactly. And Death Note is so rooted in the same kind of culture of Japan. You can't change certain things without it I hate remakes that don't understand that you have to adapt a storyline for different time frame and the different audiences. But
maybe it was payback, because as you say, they haven't got a really good relationship anyway. So hey, you take the mick out of us all the time. No, we're going to ruin Death Note for you.
Well, they've ruined Death Note and everything they remake. There are very few anime remakes that I'm like, I'll accept you. I hated Ghost in the Shell. That's an abomination. I didn't even like Battle Angel Alita. I
like Alita. I'm not as invested in it as you are, obviously, because you grew up with it and it's part of your childhood.
Yeah, but they changed so much.
What both the live action and the cartoon, it's I didn't mind it. I mean, I do mind it in the way that you've told me reasons why it won't work, in terms of they make a second film.
But yeah, they've fundamentally changed some of the structure of the world and the story. But yeah. And also, America's very, like, religious. The fact that this uses a lot of religious symbolism, but not in a positive manner. I mean, it's people fighting angels. They would have to, like, change some of that up.
Or they just changed it. They're not called angels. They're called something else.
But the thing is, they are angels. You can't change that.
Good for me. I'm not making it, so it's not my problem.
Yeah, I'm just hoping it just doesn't happen. We've got Pacific Rim. We should be happy with Pacific Rim, which I love.
There you go. Okay, we didn't do this last time, but is there anything that you want to suggest for lockdown entertainment?
I mean, I've been playing Bloodborne and dying a lot because it's, it's a From Software game. So it's a lot of like, and you died. I just finished watching a great anime called Smile Down the Runway, which is it's about a fashion designer and a model, both like told that they're not going to make it because one's too short and one's too young and too like just doesn't have enough talent, but actually they are so hard working. It's nice to see their progression and how they achieve more than they expected, and they grow and yeah, enter competitions, and it's great. It's like watching a sports anime but with modelling, but it's like, yeah, it's really good. Me and Luke loved that, and I'm sad it's only 12 episodes. I'm like, oh no, come back, you were so good. I'm sad now.
Me so sad.
Yeah.
What have I been watching? It's not so much what I've been watching, it's more what I'm watching that other people will like.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is my watching is so random. Like, I'm watching anime, I'm playing Bloodborne, I just watched that Tiger King, that new crime one on Netflix about tigers and murder and plots, and it's just madness. It's worth watching just for like how insane it all is, and it's just like, well, this wasn't exactly how I expected it to play out for a true crime documentary. That was pretty good.
What one was that? The Tiger one?
The Tiger King one, the one that's just recently out.
That's limited. Apparently that's limited availability, so if you're going to watch it, you need to watch it.
Ah, yeah, I watched that. That was good.
I have been, mix it up, because I've done something to watch. I've done a podcast. I've gone back to playing The Sims. Now, I've been playing Sims 3, which I love, because World Adventure is my absolute favourite. However, World Adventures decided to be a bumhole. And I was in the middle of a mission, and it's like, oh, you've got a missing component, you can't complete this now, so I just can't do the mission anymore. I'm like, well, I want to complete it, so I rage quit. all the things that I've done, all the things I've achieved, gone. So I was like, you know what, I haven't played Sims 4, so now I'm playing Sims 4, and it's very different. I advise playing Sims 3 over Sims 4, especially since, like, some of the stuff packs they brought out could have been part of the original expansion pack, and it's like, oh, EA needs money apparently.
Of course.
Yes, but overall I do love The Sims, so whatever version you play, I think it's worth playing, especially since we can't go outside. We can live vicariously through our Sims.
There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say get The Sims, or any version of The Sims.
I love you don't go outside, so you play The Sims to live through that. I can't go outside, so I play Bloodborne, and I'm living through that. I mean, the world is corrupted by an evil disease. I mean, okay, yeah, there's werewolves and demons and monsters, and at the moment I'm being shot at by a crazy person on top of a roof with a Gatling gun, and I'm like, stop shooting me! I'm trying to kill these ghost things that are screaming at me.
Well, one thing that you'll enjoy this. Something that I've done in The Sims 4 that I haven't previously been able to do in any other Sims game, really, to as successful as this, is I made a drag queen.
Ooh.
You can now make male characters with feminine bodies, and they can wear women's clothes, and they can have women's hair, and yeah, I just made a drag queen. I was like, I love her. She's my favorite person ever, and she's so much fun. I love her. So
has she got a good drag name though?
Not really, no. I couldn't really think of anything, because I put her in a lot of purple, so I called her Violet, but I'm sure that there's better names out there.
There we go. To our listeners, name Sagira's drag queen.
Name my drag queen. She wears a lot of purple, and she's I don't know, she's very sophisticated. It's very extensive what you can do with it now, and I really enjoy it. I'm glad that you've got all these options, and you can have things like, are they masculine, feminine, or both, or neither? It's like, this is great. It's come a long way. I like it.
Oh.
Yeah. I might make the cast of RuPaul's Drag Race. I haven't decided yet.
Oh, there we go. That sounds good. I'd play Sims if I didn't already have like a million other things that I'm also playing.
It does take up a lot of your time. It took me an hour to make my my drag queen, so
Yeah, I watch a lot of anime. That's what I do all day long. I watch anime. I'm still reviewing my yaois at the moment, and I watch a lot of horror movies, and I'm still doing my horror podcast, so I don't have time for another video game that isn't Bloodborne, and I'm also playing Skyrim. So I'm like, I'm doing nothing ever again. That's been a lovely chat.
Yes.
So, from a weeaboo...
Oh, wait,
no! We haven't done
social
something!
media.
Oh, we're social on media.
Yes, we forgot the social media.
I like being social on media.
Oh dear. Right, social media.
Media, that is social. I have lots. It all has Let's Zoe Spoil You on it, basically.
What side effects we did today? Should we do? Here it comes.
There we go with some fish. In honor of the episode, it's like some water effects. Sploosh, sploosh, sploosh. That's not a water effect. That's splash, splash, splash. Bubble, bubble, bubble.
Here's mine. Bada, and I it's just there. It's a dead fish.
You got dead fish. I've got weird splooshing water effects. It's great. Doing well.
Indeed. Okay, now we can sign off.
So, from a weeaboo, this is Johnny.
And from a newbie, it's bye.